Hello, this is Bishop Walsh. It is Saturday, May 21st, and I am just offering this video to be able to explain a little bit about the Gaylord tornado yesterday. I know there's been so many people who have tried to contact myself and others in the diocese asking how they can help and certainly offering prayers. So we're grateful for that. That's probably the most important thing. We are blessed to have made it through the tornado yesterday with our staff having to shelter in the basement, and they were there knowing what was uh, outside. But thank God it was probably a few hundred yards away from where this tornado had gone through, and our buildings were spared. The cathedral, the pastoral center, St. Mary's School, and the residents here in Gaylord. We're very grateful to God for that. We know that there is a lot of devastation and damaged buildings and properties, but we were fortunate just to have a lot of debris that ended up being in the parking lot and in the fields around the pastoral center. So the way it unfolded for me, just to do some sharing, would be, and I'm sure everybody's going to have a different story about yesterday where they were here in Gaylord. I happened to be on my way back from Traverse City, and in God's providence, I was delayed getting back. Otherwise, I might have been going through that very area where it was hardest hit off of Route 32 west of 75. But I pulled over in a gas station right off of Alma Road, and I did a Zoom conference. And the length of that Zoom conference, by the time I got back on the road heading to Gaylord, I ran into where the barricade was. I pulled over my car into a parking lot and just started walking around. Couldn't believe what I saw. All of the scenes that you would see in a devastating tornado, with businesses with their whole walls ripped out and power lines down, windows busted, cars turned over, and just stunned kind of response from many people who were just standing or walking around. And there's still a lot of cars that were in the Home Depot and other businesses there trying to get out. And there's first responders doing their best to get a gauge of the situation. So I pulled over the car, walked around for about an hour and a half, and just talked to a lot of different people, and ended up going over to Nottingham. And sadly, I think that's where I think there's at least two deaths that are reported, over 40 some casualties or people who were hurt during the time. But I think there's a significant amount that came from this development where there's, the trailer housing. And we felt so bad that it just looked like a scene out of science fiction, with metal up on trees 30 feet high, and trees that were ripped down, and debris everywhere, and people's belongings just scattered everywhere. The wind um, just took everything all over the place. So one of the scenes that will stand out for me was a man who was just sitting in a chair with a blanket wrapped around him. And I walked over to him. He didn't have any shoes or socks on. He had oxygen tank. He had a little puppy that was underneath his blanket, and he had just been rescued. He told me that his trailer had collapsed on him, and four men rushed in and rescued him. Otherwise, he probably would have died there. And he was just sitting there waiting for someone to come around and give him a hand. He was waiting for other family members. So it started to rain again, and I had my umbrella. I just stood with him for about a half hour, and we until he was able to get some of the help he needed. And it was just a chance to talk him through and keep him company. But he was a very nice man, and just my heart broke for him because he just looked out at the scene where everything was devastated, that he knew in his life, his medications, his finances, his records, anything of personal belongings. So then, the pastoral center, they had All of our staff that was sheltering in the basement was able to leave safely and to get back to their homes. Again, the main thing was that we're so grateful for our staff, our personnel, and for our properties to have been largely spared. We will do our best to organize efforts to help the community in the days ahead, and we'll see if there is some way that we can set up some kind of a fund, perhaps. So many people trying to help, and we'll work that out next week sometime to assess the needs and how best we can respond. I know one of our staff members had a house that was just a block north of our school, and the school was untouched and his house was devastated. And there's just a lot of property around the cathedral that we know. I'm sure that many of our parishioners are there, have been affected, and we'll do our best to reach out and help them. So this is just a way to stay in touch. We're finally able to work it out with our Wi-Fi, and the internet was down for a while, and we're just wanting to get this out. And we ask your continued prayers and grateful for your support. God bless you.